Hey guys, welcome if you're new, and hello to any of my lurking repeat offenders. We're getting more personal today with a little pinch of trauma dumping. How Vyvanse has shaped my life over the past 12 months. If you're here, you may be at a point where life has been feeling tough and the struggle isn't getting easier. Whether it's dealing with job loss, a relationship breakdown, or deteriorating finances, or, just the existential dread that comes with feeling like you'll never achieve more than you have. I get it. I've been there myself. It's what led me to starting my own ADHD journey. I'm going to run you through why I made the decision to get diagnosed and start medication, how it's helped me, some of the side effects, the pros and cons, address some of the misconceptions people have around stimulant medication, and just overshare as per usual. Now, before I get right into the video, please know that while I do my best to research my topics thoroughly, I am in no way a health professional and cannot provide real advice. These are my own experiences that I share, and I do so because there are many people out there looking for personal experiences that they relate to rather than the clinical symptoms listed by a doctor or website. Please seek professional help if this is something you are considering or have questions about. Vyvanse has a bunch of common and less common side effects. It's not uncommon for people to experience nausea and or vomiting, constipation, stomach/abdominal pain, loss of appetite, dry mouth, headache, nervousness, dizziness, trouble sleeping, sweating, weight loss, restlessness, and irritability. So I guess I'll share some of my experiences with these too. If any of these make you uncomfy, this video is likely not for you. If you're new to my content, I've spoken about getting diagnosed and my earlier thoughts about being medicated. I will chuck some links up here and down below if you'd like to check them out, but I will give you a really quick rundown now. So for a super quick recap, I got diagnosed with ADHD and binge eating disorder back in September 2022. My psychiatrist prescribed me Vyvanse as it's the only approved medication to treat both ADHD and binge eating, and it's been a huge tool in my journey so far. I was at a point in my life where I was sick of feeling like I wasn't good enough. I was always trying to change one of the more broken parts of me, and I would for a while, but habits just never seemed to stick with me. It was incredibly frustrating and disheartening, so I sought diagnosis thanks to some friends and ADHD TikTok. Now, ADHD TikTok was a blessing and a curse, and I'll talk about that in next week's video. If you're more than a week late to this, I'll leave a link at the end of the video, but one of the downsides to it is that it kind of unintentionally caused a bigger surge of misinformation about ADHD online. Today's video is about my experience with Vyvanse. We're going to talk about that aspect of it today and not all of the TikTok things as a whole. There's a stigma when people start meds, whether it's internalized or externally from, peers, friends, and even family, that you're taking the easy way out, or you're just going to end up an addict, or my favorite, but you'll become reliant on the medication. No shit. A lot of this can stem from the main ingredients in many stimulant drugs, which is often amphetamine. Meth. Thanks, Walter White. Now, there's a few reasons that clinging to this argument is silly. One, you've likely seen the person having an argument with you do ketamine. Sorry, Kevin, but to preach that natural remedies are better, fuck off. You're not that health conscious. ADHD medications are a tool. You wouldn't tell someone who wears glasses that they're ridiculous for becoming reliant on them for seeing. And if you would, you're a dickhead. We don't take these drugs to get high. Go and take a poll and see how frequently many ADHDers forget to take their meds. Go on, I'll wait. Can't be that addicted if you forget to do the thing you're supposedly addicted to, now can you? We have a deficiency in our brains of dopamine and norepinephrine. Hey Google, how to say the word spelt norepinephrine.
These are the top results.
Norepinephrine.
Norepinephrine? Norepinephrine. Okay, norepinephrine. We have a deficiency in our brains of dopamine and norepinephrine that doesn't allow certain parts of us to perform the way neurotypicals would. These drugs bring us up to a more standard baseline, so we can then start working on building habits that are more likely to set us up for success in the future. It's important to note that medications don't cure ADHD. They help us manage the symptoms better. Once the meds wear off, it's chaos again. Every morning, my alarm goes off and I'm sad about it, but I turn that sucker off and I pop my Vyvanse before stepping out of bed. Sometimes there's some doom scrolling beforehand, but it's not that important for this video. I haven't tried any other medication options at this stage, and that's for a couple reasons. The first one being, Vyvanse is the only one used for binge eating disorder as well. While I've got some great coping tools in place to help with that, it's still very much in my brain, and I think it'll be a while before I feel comfortable enough to try something else. Secondly, it's really expensive to see a psychiatrist privately here in Australia, so I try and only see them when I absolutely need to. Some of the side effects that I spoke about last time have shifted. Dry mouth, for instance. It's not as bad, definitely still noticeable a few hours after it kicks in, usually lasting an hour or two, but instead of it feeling like I've eaten sand, it just feels like I haven't had a drink for a couple of hours. Also, the sweating. When I first started Vyvanse, if it was even slightly warm out, I'd be so sweaty. It wouldn't take much to set me off at all. I don't know if I've always been like this or if it's new with meds, but I do feel pretty sensitive to heat now. It's uncomfy. I don't feel as sweaty as I did at the start, luckily enough. Constipation, it needs to be addressed. This one honestly surprised me because it's not something I'd experienced before being medicated. But yes, I do have to drink a lot more water now, and I also take fiber supplements twice a day. If I don't, then I am extremely uncomfortable. And everyone has to hear about it. I am a polite lady. This one seems to be ongoing. I try to eat more fiber, but it's difficult because I've also had to increase my protein consumption, which doesn't help things move as much as they used to, if you know what I mean. You all know what I mean. That's not subtle at all. I can't poo sometimes. Irritability. This one is interesting to me and didn't become apparent right away. Because I'm clearly talking about everything in this episode, here's a little bit more context. Before I started meds, I'd come off the pill. I'd been on it for probably 10 years or so and was on a really high dose. Now, I didn't realize until I came off it that it had a huge effect on my moods. It must have been some type of mood stabilizer kind of effect, but looking back at that time, it just kind of numbed a lot of the things I was feeling. I still felt everything, but the highs and lows just felt dampened in some way. I'd feel mopey and sad instead of anger a lot of the time. Sometimes instead of feeling happy, I would just kind of feel everything's fine. It can take a couple of years for your body to adapt back to its normal. And unfortunately, I don't know if this irritability I experience is new or whether it's always been there, but I didn't feel as angry, so I couldn't identify it. I use anger as the main example because that's one of the things I've noticed that's changed in the last few years. It's a feeling I definitely experienced when I was younger, a lot of teen angst and just general disdain for things. But now sometimes I just have these surges of actual anger again, and I have not felt that for a very long time. It's not often, and it's when it's warranted, but it always surprises me because it isn't something that I've felt a lot outside of really competitive areas, Hope that makes sense. The irritability comes out especially when I'm driving. Everyone's a fuckhead but me.
Boy, everyone is stupid except me.
It's not road rage level, but it's definitely more intense than it used to be. My partner likes to point it out, which is way less than helpful when I'm in the middle of experiencing it. Oh, and sleep problems. I haven't addressed this one yet. I haven't had issues falling asleep since I was a teen or a kid. I was a pretty anxious child, especially at night. I'd think about a lot of things. Classic overthinking traits. Most of the time, my head used to hit the pillow and I would be out. Nowadays, this is a bit of a struggle. I think before meds, I was almost just passing out from sheer exhaustion. I'd wake up tired. Now that I can focus more throughout the day, I don't feel like it's me against my brain as much. We were always like this. My head is quieter throughout the day, so when the meds have worn off, I'm laying in the dark. My mind feels like it's screaming at me. It is so much louder than what I'm now used to. So I am still on the 40 milligram tablet, and although I feel I could increase, the current medication shortage has made me hesitate. It's hard to get any Vyvanse right now. I'll stick with what I know until they are readily available again. Plus, the research around tolerance seems to vary between experts, so I don't want to limit myself because 70 milligrams is the max they will prescribe, and I don't want to hit the roof too soon if building a tolerance to it does become a thing for me over time. I am not quite 30, and I like to think maybe I've got another 30 to 50 years up my sleeve and would like to be able to concentrate for most of that time. So don't want to be hitting the threshold in the first 5 years. If the threshold exists, it might not. I don't know, can someone do a fucking study with conclusive end? I don't know. Why can one psychiatrist say, yes, you should take breaks, and then the others are like, no, you shouldn't? Is it just up for interpretation? Is that what the medical industry is? It's all open for interpretation? Can I become a psychiatrist? I would like to earn $150K a year. Yeah. I need a drink. I need to calm my head down for a second. Also worth mentioning, because no one fucking talks about it, now that I've been on Vyvanse for a year, I have noticed something. It works pretty well 3 out of the 4 weeks of the month. Doesn't take a genius to work out which week it's not effective for, now does it? Now, I make this point because no health professional told me this. An ongoing theme for women pursuing any health treatment. And you're probably going to get a rant. There's no probably about it. You're getting a fucking rant. I have a lot of gripe with the fucking medical industry and how women have been excluded from it for a very long time. Like, we get healthcare, but like, why is it subpar to men's? Here we go. A man can walk into a doctor's office, say he can't concentrate, his life is in shambles, and his mental health isn't great. The doctor is like, oh, and how did you do in school? And Mr. Guy is like, oh, I didn't do well at school, hated sitting in my chair all day. Did really good at sports though. And just like that, the doctor is like, oh, that sounds really consistent with ADHD. Here you go. You should go and see this guy and he's going to look after you. And just like that, Mr. Guy gets his life together. He succeeds and he just gets to go on with life. He has his ADHD diagnosis and his little meds in hand. And like, he never has to think about it again. Things just happen for him, you know? Whereas like a woman walks in and she will go on saying that she's incredibly anxious all the time. She can't be on time to anything. She feels low because she's not achieving at the same level as her peers. She can't concentrate. She can't sleep because her mind is always racing. She feels stressed and overwhelmed and blah, blah. And the doctor will ask her about her exercise routine, how healthy she is, whether she practices mindfulness, probably tell her to lose some weight. He will then refer her to a psychologist because they think she may be insert one of the following depressed things here, and that a mood stabilizer will just sort her out. Ugh. And the dumb thing is, she will do all of these things because she just wants help. And then she'll figure out that it's ADHD and she'll jump through every hoop there is to get diagnosed, just to have a doctor say, oh, I'm actually not sure that it's ADHD because it's less common in women. But what we're going to do is we're going to put you on a medication trial before we diagnose you with anything official. And we'll just see how you go. And she was right all along, but the doctor still won't believe her. Okay, she's going to calm the fuck down. I'm sure 40% of my viewers will know what I'm talking about here. I was very fortunate that my doctor wasn't an asshat, but I did have to jump through many hoops to find a psychiatrist with a waitlist less than a year. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same for many people that I know within my local ADHD community and my own like personal friends and family members. It's a fucked experience, and I'm glad that like the stuff that I'm doing here and other people online that are, you know, jumping in and sharing their experiences, it is starting to cause more awareness, but we are so fucking behind and it is infuriating. Like, I shouldn't have waited till I was 26 to get diagnosed, but I had no fucking clue. No one knew. And like, can't be resentful of people because that would just ruin my whole life. But dudes don't have to go through this sort of shit as often as we do. And like, I just wish things were better for some people, you know? Back to the point. The days leading up to my period, my mood will shift. The baseline of like where I normally sit when medicated will just like plummet and things will feel bad again. I'll have about 3 to 5 days where I'm wondering if I've even taken my meds because I feel so scattered and incapable. The tool I've been using isn't anywhere near as effective during this time. It's like putting on your first pair of glasses. It's better than nothing, but they are 10 years old and your eyes have only gotten worse. Now, luckily, it only lasts a few days for me and I've started tracking my period so I can anticipate these days and plan around them. These are the days where I give myself less to do. I don't drop responsibilities, but if it's my night to cook, we're probably eating something I've thrown in the air fryer that took no prep time. It's just something to be mindful of. These are also the times where I'll try and focus on getting enough sleep and the right vitamins so I don't have exhaustion also piling on top of a crappy few days. Appetite changes and eating patterns. This feels like a natural segue into this topic. So when they prescribe Vyvanse for binge eating disorder, the only FDA-approved drug for binge eating disorder, it is done as it's shown to help control the impulsivity associated with binge eating. Lisdexamfetamine has been shown to reduce obsessions, compulsions, and the number of binge days per week, leading to weight loss. Now, I think this portion of the video is what got my content restricted last time, so I'll proceed with caution, but please know that I've been working on myself in many ways and would never encourage anyone to participate in things that would be damaging to their eating disorder recovery. I say this as a disclaimer. If this is part of the topic that you're not comfortable hearing about or weight loss is a trigger for you, either finish the video now or jump forward a couple minutes. I'll leave a timestamp on screen for you. Lack of appetite side effects still exist for me, but not in the same way they did 6 months ago. Previously, I wouldn't recognize my hunger cues very often. I just wouldn't feel hungry, and because I had so much emotion connected to my eating, if I didn't feel like it, I wouldn't have a proper meal until I did feel like it. It's not to say I didn't eat. It's just at lunchtime, sometimes I would only have like a yogurt and an apple and like that would be it. And I didn't feel hungry or unsatiated. It's just I didn't crave food the way I had previously. Whereas now I'm like, hey, I could actually eat a chicken salad wrap, or I could have a burger, or whatever the fuck it is that I'm feeling on the day, you know? I mix it up a little, and then I still have my snacks like every 2 hours. I talk about working with a dietitian who was amazing even prior to my diagnosis a lot in my other videos. You can see them up here somewhere. And while I haven't worked with her for a while, I still continue to practice what we were working on, and I am so grateful for the kindness she taught me to have for myself. So I continue to eat something small every 2 to 3 hours, which helps me stay energized because I'm fueling my body and avoids me feeling the sensation to binge eat as frequently. I now feel hunger cues throughout the day, but not the way I did before or when I just started medication. It's like a different kind of like hybrid. It's like a happy medium. I feel hungry, but not like famished like I used to. When I started meds, I'd feel nothing all day and then feel starving at night despite eating little bits throughout the day. Now I still feel them like I did before meds, but less intensely, more subdued. I know that it's important for me to fuel myself properly, so I do. I use this app called 8. It's great because I just take a photo of my food and it has a like visual representation of what I ate and when I last ate. So if I feel crap, I know it's because I'm due to eat. What I like about it is it's not a calorie or macro tracker. It's just a good little companion app to have. I can also see if maybe I'm just consuming a lot of one type of food and not a variety. I really love that it's just a very visual app. So I'm not going to talk about weight loss much in today's video, mainly because I'm only being weighed once a quarter when I have my check-in with the doctor, due to monitoring my health with medication. He's a gem about it too. When we do weigh in, he'll ask if I'd like him to keep that number to himself to avoid potential triggers for me. Last time I wish I'd accepted this. I had a bit of a fluctuation and was unsettled about it. I'm also nervous for my next review coming out of the holiday season and all, but overall I'm feeling a lot better about my self-worth nowadays. It may upset me, it may not, but the despair I used to feel about seeing the number go up every now and then isn't as severe anymore. The same way I don't feel as excited when I see that number go down. I am worth more than the number on the scales, and so are you. I tend to have a more natural fluctuation in weight now that can be attributed to hormones, water intake, and things like that, instead of like the extreme yo-yos I used to have from intense binges and insanely regimented/restriction. I've more or less maintained where I was a year ago. I can't remember if I talked about this in the last video, but my emotional clarity has improved so much. Before meds, I'd have days where I just wouldn't know how or what I was feeling. I couldn't pinpoint things that would overwhelm me or make me sad. Hell, I couldn't tell the difference between those two emotions. I would just explode randomly and say that I had a randomly explosive temper. Now, if I'm angry, confused, overwhelmed, I can actually take a second to ask myself what I'm feeling and why, and actually communicate my needs rather than explode from frustration of not being able to like voice the chaos that is inside my head. People used to try and hug me when I was angry, and I couldn't understand why it would make me so uncomfortable. Now, if people offer a hug, I'll take it if I'm happy or sad, but if I'm angry, I'll respectfully decline it and separate myself. There's more work to be done, but it is a huge improvement for me. As far as decision paralysis goes, I still struggle with this a lot. But like many of the other things, I can identify days where I feel like this and can ask for less options or tell someone that I don't want to be the one who decides. I'm happy to relinquish control in those moments. Take last night, for instance. I didn't realize it was my night to cook as I've started a new job and my whole routine is super out of whack right now. And because I didn't know it was my night, I'd had no time to think about it. When it was sprung on me, I wasn't hungry, so trying to decide what to cook when I didn't want to eat yet felt impossible. All I knew yesterday was that I didn't want to turn the oven on because it was 35 degrees outside and our house heats up quick. My partner offered to cook for me. The struggle it was for me was pretty apparent, but I settled on something really easy, low effort, fuck all dishes, and we were both happy. It was hot dogs. They were delicious. I'm sure I'm not the only one who experiences this level of paralysis over something not important, right? This has been my journey with Vyvanse so far over the past 12 months. Consult with your doctor. I'm fortunate that the pros outweigh the cons. These are the type of things I'm happy to live with. It is the price I must pay to ensure I complete something and feel good about myself. I get to experience more peace of mind and stability. I hope this video has helped you in some way, but please remember that these experiences are my own and you should always consult with a medical professional, not a chronic oversharing millennial on YouTube. If you could help me out by liking this video and subscribing, I would really appreciate it. Take care, legends. Thank you.